I'm just preparing the colt to be roped. Not just
Grant Gallagher has spent nearly 50 years as a horse trainer and has broken in thousands of horses. During that time, he's learned essential lessons about communication, boundaries, fairness, trust, and respect. Lessons that apply not just to horses, but to people as well. Now he's sharing what he's learned in the book titled Think Like a Horse, Lessons in Life, Leadership, and Empathy from an Unconventional Cowboy. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Good to have you with us.
Great to be here.
This is really interesting, I thought, and insightful, although I don't really necessarily understand all the concepts here. The first one I think is pretty simple that we mentioned in the opening. Clear boundaries. Talk about how it relates to a horse and how it relates to a person.
Well, really everything about training a horse is teaching the horse to stay between two clear boundaries. The boundaries are your reins, your legs, and you want the horse to center up between those and ride with you so the two of you become one. And that's quite a process. That's the finished horse.
You know, it's just interesting that you would realize that these lessons are translated to business and everyday life. It's kind of like when people say the lessons you learn in kindergarten are translated to the rest of your life. Is that what you started to realize after a while?
Well, it's been a lifetime of it, really. You know, the old guy that I learned from, he's passed away now, but Tom Dorrance used to say it's all about life. And I didn't really understand that back then. I just wanted to be a better horse trainer. But over the years, I really come to understand how this really fits life, how our interaction with the horse and how good we can be with the horse really helps us, you know, be a better leader in every aspect of life.
Okay, so explain how this one applies to people and to horses. You say make the right thing easy and the wrong thing difficult. Give me an example.
Well, that was a famous saying Ray Hunt used to use, another old, legend in my era. He's passed away now, too. I got to work with him, but he really has set it up. It's more using psychology than the old way of training that was all about force, fear, intimidation, repetition, make them do it. This was about setting it up so the horse gets to choose himself. And you just put pressure on him when he's doing the wrong thing, release pressure when he decides to do the right thing, and reward him by taking that pressure away. So it gets to be his choice and he likes it better. He's a free spirit and he feels good about that.
You also say you have to embrace humility. Even when you're dealing with a horse, is this just, you realize that you have to come at them just in a gentle way?
Well, it's not all about being gentle. It's about being a good leader, a firm leader. A horse really wants a strong leader. He's looking for a firm, strong leader, but he wants one that's fair. And horses really understand when they're not being treated fairly. So it's being as soft as you can be, but it's being as firm as you need to be. And yes, it's about being kind. There's no abuse in this philosophy of training. It's just using psychology about being kind, but also being firm.
I read one of the tips was all criticism or critical feedback should be done in person when you can be there. I would imagine you'd always have to be there with the horse, but with people in a digital age, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I think, criticism can be a difficult thing. And I don't think we really have the right to criticize until we get to know that horse or person. And my philosophy is you need to say about 5 good things before you address a critical thing. So you always start on a good note and with a horse and finish on a good note. And anything in between can be difficult, but those are 2 really important aspects of training. And I believe it is with people as well.
So people have they come to your ranch, right? And can people go and just have these experiences? Learning to ride a horse is about teaching people lessons. Like I know you have executives come out there. What do you do for people when they visit you?
Well, I usually do a demonstration with a young horse. Sometimes it's a spoiled horse. Sometimes it's an abused horse. So I use different horses that happen to come to me. I kind of think the horse is picked for the right group. Mostly we do corporate groups that come, but we also do families and things like that. It's really about personal growth. It's not just about how to train a horse. I really work mostly with people that are non-horse people. And the greatest lessons, it really comes, people see it and they tell me, And over the past 25 years of doing this, I've really learned more from them, I think, than they have from me.
Well, it's fascinating. Grant's book is called Think Like a Horse, Lessons in Life, Leadership, and Empathy from an Unconventional Cowboy. From where you can check out the website for his ranch, diamondcrossranch.com, or follow him on Instagram. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.